For the past 5 years, I've been going to this gaming convention in Orlando, Florida called Free Play Florida, and in 2018, it moved to a new venue at the Caribbean Royale, and I went there on Saturday, November 10th. So in this quick video, I will show you some of the games that were there, some of the rare stuff, some of the games that were groundbreaking for the time. There were a bunch of video games, a bunch of pinball games, and I will show you which ones caught my eye. The first thing that caught my eye was what they called the pre-war playground. Flipperless machines. Back in the 30s, these machines were still going, but as Prohibition hit, most of these machines were destroyed. A lot of the machines exhibited here are over 80 years old. Here are some pinball machines from the 1960s and 70s that were at the show and working, the earliest of which dating back to 1964. Now a quick look at some of the rare video games that were at the show, including Nintendo's Helifire, Radar Scope, Atari's iRobot, Williams Blaster, Sega's Time Traveler, and the unreleased Marble Madness 2. Free Play Florida would also be host to some pioneering shooters like Scramble and Vanguard, but there was no Space Invaders, strangely enough. But Galaxian and Galaga were present and accounted for. The fighting game genre would have some entries. ER Kung Fu, 3 different Street Fighter II Turbos, 2 Killer Instinct 2s, an Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and Marvel vs. Capcom, and one of the Street Fighter II Turbos also had a board swap into a Street Fighter Alpha 3 late on Saturday. 2 of my new favorite games from the show would end up being Bally Midway titles. One of them being Space Zap, and the other being Demolition Derby.
That's your car there, so you just backed in.
The racing game genre is my favorite genre of video game, and there were some interesting titles at the show as well. The latest game was Cruisin' Exotica. There were also 2 stand-up outrun cabinets, a Monaco GP Cabaret cabinet, Super Off-Road, Demolition Derby as I mentioned earlier, and of course, the vintage computers at the show included a Sharp X68000 running Gradius, an Apple II GS running Oregon Trail, a Commodore 64 running Pengo and later Bruce Lee, and an IBM PCXT 5160 running the 8-bit guys Planet X3 and the Oregon Trail. There were plenty of pinball games at Free Play Florida. There were some of my favorites there as well, including the high speed games and the Black Knight games. There was a game for everybody. Overall, a very good mix of the electromechanical and solid state games, including old and new. Many of the major game consoles were here and accounted for at Free Play Florida, including the Atari 2600, the ColecoVision, the Atari 5200, the Famicom and the Disk System, Sega Genesis, the Neo Geo, the Dreamcast, the Xbox 360, and more. Now I will leave you with a few more pictures of the show, including my personal favorite, the always funny Keith Apicary on top of his Neo Geo cabinet.